Okay, lots to say, lots to see, no time to waste, let's crack on. This is all the stuff that I've picked up in the last month or so, put it on video before I have to file it away. New Year cleanup. Flesh of Frankenstein from Vinegar Syndrome, lovely 2 slipcases, 4K, great edition, and it's a good match for the Dracula set that Severin put out. They sent me 2. I've contacted them and said, what do you want me to do? Ain't heard back from them yet. To get over the threshold limit for the Vinegar Syndrome sale, I bought the Curious Dr. Hump. I literally needed to spend about £5. This caught my eye because it said something like it's one of the strangest oddball things you'll ever see. I thought, that'll do. I haven't watched it yet, but I'll let you know. Stanley Kramer's response to the student riots and 1970 Ohio shootings, and Elliot Gould made a similar film, but this is RPM with Anthony Quinn and Margaret and Gary Lockwood's in here somewhere. Yeah, from 2001: A Space Odyssey. Brilliant film. Some people say Stanley Kramer hits you over the head with his themes. I think some themes are worth hitting people over the head for. Another indicator sale pickup. A severed head, which ostensibly I purchased for the Richard Attenborough connection, but it's more an exploration of the stiff upper lip, and how much of a joke that is when you see what happens behind closed doors, and when it's not stiff upper lips or they shoot stiff, you know what I mean. So that's a good movie. La vie privée d'un sénateur. I think I took French in high school. So I think it's called The Private Life of Joe Tinnan, Senator Joe Tinnan, in English. This is Alan Alda, as you can see, and Meryl Streep. A kind of post-Nixon take on Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, but filtered through the we can't believe that just one good guy can make a difference kind of thing stuff. So Alan Alda unfortunately was caught up in MASH so much that his peak years he didn't get to make so many movies. But again, I wouldn't trade Hawkeye and MASH for the world. Here's another one. It's the Rudy Ray Moore box set from Vinegar Syndrome. Now, when they announced this, I was like, oh man, you're putting out the 4 films that you've already released and have bought in that cool looking box set with this great art. What they did was they allowed you to buy just the empty box for £5 or so you can make up your own collector's set, which is wonderful. So thank you very much, Vinegar Syndrome. And it's got the big shot from Disco Godfather, my personal favourite. What has he had? Lucky, what has he had? A hero of mine who has been very slow coming to Blu-ray, but he's finally just crawling. Warren Beatty and Heaven Can Wait. The kind of film they don't make anymore. It's an adult film, but it's fantastical and whimsical. They don't generally make these in Hollywood anymore. You've got Jack Warden, who was in Shampoo with, Julie Christie, his on again, off again, very much on again. Other half, Charles Grodin, of course, and I believe it was co-written by Elaine May, and that led to them working on Ishtar. No more said. I like Ishtar more than most people actually. Citizen Kane 4K. I went for the Warner Brothers European version. Some people said, oh, but the Criterion has more extras. Well, this has got a lot of cool memorabilia, like a whole big stack of it. And I've also got the Blu-ray of the 75th anniversary edition, or 75th, and that had a documentary feature-length making of film and a dramatised film of William Randolph Hearst trying to censor the film. So I feel like I'm covered for special features for Citizen Kane. I'm not ruling out a double dip later on if I really hear the Criterion extras are worth it, but because I do love Orson Welles. Love him. I even bought, I buy all these like Euro trash horrors that he made just so we could, film another 10 minutes of Don Quixote. Straight Story. The best title for a film ever, because it is David Lynch's Straightest Story. A lot of people say it stands out because it's not a weird, strange David Lynch movie. To me, it still has themes which are very much resonant in his other pieces. An understated, an unsaid love, animosity that travels through the years that turns to regret. Terrific, and imprint from Australia, not out of the park, with an edition with all sorts of extras. So just pick it up and support Imprint, because they're releasing world first Blu-rays, which nobody else is putting out, so just support them. The Many Saints of New York is the Sopranos prequel. David Chase did not want it to be billed as such, he wanted it to stand on its own 2 feet, but as you can see, they plastered Tony Soprano's name all over, defeating the purpose for David Chase, who I feel sorry for. However, the film itself wasn't actually as good as I hoped it would be, despite the wonderful performance of Vera Farmiga as the young Livia, Tony's horrible mother, who we all remember from the TV show. Scarface with Paul Mooney, picked up an HMV 2 for $15. Classic collection, premium collection I should say. Obviously a classic film, directed by Howard Hawks, but produced by Howard Hughes, so most people get them mixed up, probably because of this. It's got your Boris Karloff in it, but Paul Mooney is your star. It's also got George Raft, and probably is the role that made him. It's a great movie, but it's not quite on the level of Little Caesar, my personal favourite of that year. The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean, with Paul Newman, directed by John Huston. A character who's been depicted very many times in very many films in very many different ways. But I purchased it because I like the movie, I love John Huston. John Milius wrote it before he went, crazy. And it's got a cameo by Stacy Keach, and anything that has Stacy Keach in it gets my attention, because I have a Stacy Keach collection in my cupboard of Blu-rays that was inspired by Daisuke Depu, who a lot of us know. As was pointed out to me when I said, this is for the Stacy Keach collection, someone said to me, I don't think Stacy Keach even has a Stacy Keach collection, but I love him, so Stacy, the 9th configuration changed my life. Georges Méliès' Fairy Tales in Colour. We all know The Trip to the Moon. This pulls back the curtain a bit more, so maybe you haven't seen anything much beyond that, so it's on here as well, but you can see a lot more Méliès through this. I've also got The Trip to the Moon, the Big Arrow book edition that came with Méliès out of print autobiography. So double dip, but who cares. Another imprint, Let It Ride, which is somewhat of a blind buy. Richard Dreyfuss is a down on his luck gambler. A hound dog Richard Dreyfuss always gets me. But what really sold me was his partner in crime in this. Is played by David Johansen, aka Buster Poindexter, New York Dolls, couple of great blues albums, wonderful talent. From Warner Archive, who, thank God, Warner Archive have not gone the way of the dinosaur as we thought they might do a few months back. The Ghost Ship and Bedlam, a Val Luton double, and this, of course, being a Boris Karloff one, I would have picked up anyway, even if it was directed by that guy on the street over there. But yeah, great to have these upgraded. And as always, great transfers from Warner Archives, because they knew how to maintain their archive, unlike some who seem to, put their film canisters next to boxes of matches. Looking at you, Universal, MGM. Angels with Dirty Faces, very personal film to me, because my father, who passed away when I was 9, introduced me to this film, and we watched it a lot together. It's Jimmy Cagney's, one of his most notable performances, with a terrific ending. It's so good, in fact, that I don't even mention the fact that Bogart's in it. just pick it up. I mean, it's one of the greatest films of its era for me. Here's an odd one, Charlie Countryman. I got this for £1. Starring Shia LaBeouf. I wonder if I overpaid, but what got me was Mads Mikkelsen's in it, and I pretty much buy anything with Mads Mikkelsen in it. If it's £1, I'll certainly take the chance. Right, next pile, No Time to Die. Already done a video on this. It's the big 4K deluxe HMV. Comes with pewter key rings and art cards and all sorts of that good stuff. That's the sound of 1,000 terrible things coming our way. Actually, it wasn't the Blurays. We're okay. It's the second time I bless myself and I'm an atheist. Ship of Fools, Stanley Kramer. I mentioned that some people think he's a bit heavy-handed. This is one of his later films. It's still a bit kind of, but it's more like societal types. It's got something common with Separate Tables, it was Terence Rattigan that wrote that, with Burt Lancaster in the movie, and David Niven, Deborah Carr. Hope I'm getting all that right. It's got something common with that, but wonderful cast, including Vivian Leigh, George Segal, Lee Marvin. This was Indicator Sale, and well worth a blind buy. Mike Leigh haul here. Bleak Moments, his first film, and from his first film onwards, you know what you're getting with Mike Leigh. He is uncompromising as it comes. There are no doubts where he stands, going right back to his BBC TV days with the Cathy Come Home, those kind of films. So yeah, Mike Leigh, Bleak Moments, pick that up because it's I believe a world premiere. Now there are a couple of other Mike Leighs, so I'll just jump to those before I do anything else. Deirdre Drake, his 2003-4. I saw it in the cinema and I left in tears. It's Imelda Staunton as a lovely lady who helps young girls in trouble when abortions were illegal, and none of his films are an easy watch. He's never going to be Richard Curtis, put it that way, but this one in particular really hit me hard, and I've never even been impacted by abortion or in any way. I don't know any family members and whatnot, but my God, that film still hit me. All or Nothing, bizarrely, just also released by Severin. They release horror, they release sexploitation, they release, cheap, nasty, but sometimes really great little movies, and then they release a film about life in a London housing estate. But yeah, it's got Timothy Spall, it's got James Corden and Daniel Mays in early film roles. James Corden, of course, now best known as being the guy who's not as good as Craig Ferguson. Yeah, I said it. Naked from the BFI, another Mike Leigh. This is David Thewlis's breakout role. He's not going on at the career that I wish he had. I know he's done Harry Potter, and I think he was the villain in the first Wonder Woman movie, but they pay the bills and then some. But I'd love to see David Thewlis make something as resonant as this again. This captured the zeitgeist in the way that something like Trainspotting did. I mean, it really is that resonant. And just becomes more so as the years go by. In the days of UK austerity, this film works even more. Mike Leigh, I know this is a cliche, but his films don't age. They when people say, "Oh, it's more valid now than it was even then," you think, nah, it's just as valid, and that's the sad thing. Unfortunately, these social ills are never solved. Steely Dan's classic albums documentary on Asia, that's my favourite Steely Dan album, one of my favourite albums in general, so nothing more needed. Middle of the Stone Woman, Mario Bava-like, but pre-Bava, directed by Giorgio Fellini, and it's from 1960. A lot of people ignored this one because it was quite expensive from Arrow, but it does have a lot of different editions and lots of extras. I watched the movie, and I don't know if it was the cut I watched, but it wasn't the best. It's certainly no Black Sunday. if you're looking for that kind of thing. But it's good. But I'd say if you're on the fence, wait for just the slimmed down version. Here's one that ain't even opened, Shadow the Thin Man. Reason it's not opened, the final one comes out next month, and I went to marathon the lot. I watched the first two. I've seen them all before, but I went to marathon the lot in one fell swoop, and the last one is out next month, the Song of the Thin Man. The Grand Silence, spaghetti western classic from Sergio Corbucci with Klaus Kinski. This film shows the difference. When people talk about spaghetti westerns and whatnot, this shows the difference between a Corbucci and a Leone. It's a totally different film from any of the Man with No Name type of movies. This is much more quiet and distant. You can also see where Quentin Tarantino found much of the script for The Hateful Eight, and he's the first to admit it. I mean, he even name checks Corbucci and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Zappa, Alex Winter from Bill and Ted's documentary about the great man, which rarely for a film these days is a dual disc edition with the DVD as well. It's got a commentary from Alex Winter and comes with some art cards. It's great. I don't think one documentary can ever really do justice to Frank Zappa, because you can only really discover him through his music, but it's as good as can be done, I think. I mentioned that I have a collection of Stacy Keach movies, and I've got a pile of them, and nobody else has a Stacy Keach collection that I know of. Here's one that I picked up for the Stacy Keach collection. It's known as Street People, or your Spanish title there. I think this is semi-legit bootleg from Spain, but again, for Stacy, I will bootleg. Do you know, a lot of people think when I say Stacy Keach, they go, who's she? Not you, of course, you're smart. Days of Heaven, Terrence Malick's wonderful, one of the best looking films you'll ever see in your life. His second film after Badlands, and the last film we would make for 20 odd years. Thank God this finally came out. I just wish it was a 4K, because it's one of the most stunning looking movies you will ever see in your life. I'm sorry I'm battling through these, but there's so many. Freehand for a Tough Cop. Is it 88 or 101? Fracture Visions. Well, we're getting quite a few of these at the moment in the UK. Umberto Lenzi directed it. Is Henry Silva in this? Yes, Henry Silva's in it. So we're getting quite a few of these Italian crime films and whatnot, just like the lead box set that Arrow put out was in there, and the Polizio Tech, whatever they're called. And we're getting a lot of these. That's a good movie though. That's a really fun. A lot of them are just Dirty Harry knockoffs, but that's a fun one. This I've seen a million times, but I've never actually owned it. It's just Martin Scorsese talking about his favourite films and breaking them down with clips for 4.5 hours. For some people that might sound like torture, for me that sounds like chocolate laced heroin, which I've not had recently. Elia Kazan's Facing the Crowd. I'm not going to go into it, but I don't like supporting Elia Kazan. I don't like naming names, but the film is terrific. Andy Griffith, who never really made it in this country, or his comedy didn't, the show didn't come over here. So we can look at the film without the baggage of the Andy Griffith show, although I just know it through osmosis. But wow, what a film. And again, like I was saying about one of the others, very prescient in terms of the celebrity politician, using his notoriety and charisma to become more powerful. We don't want to name names, but I think we all know where we're going with that. This was an odd one because I just realised I hadn't bought it, and I don't know why. Because I've been buying all these Thin Man movies going, God, I love William Powell. And for some reason I hadn't bought My Man Godfrey from Criterion, even though it came out, was it this year or last year? But it's been out for a wee while. Bought now. I've seen My Man Godfrey before on some not terrific quality discs, but hey, better now. Yokai Monsters. So odd one. I love Japanese folklore kind of films, not so much modern ones, but the more traditional, like the Daimajin sets from Arrow. And this comes with the original trilogy and Takeshi Miike's remake, The Great Yokai War. Wonderful edition with big book, a fold-out poster with all the Yokai Monsters. If you like things like the mythos of a bit like the Daimajin, the Golem, the Protector, that kind of thing, give it a shot. Again, if you're not 100% sure, wait the standard edition. Another Warner Archive belter, Night at the Opera. This one does have loads of extras on it, including commentary by Leonard Maltin. For God's sake, that'll do. Not my favourite Marx Brothers. When they moved to Warner's, when they negotiate the contract where they were allowed to put in these big musical numbers, and you fast forward through some of them. When Harpo actually plays the harp for 5 minutes, skip. But yeah, I do prefer your duck soup, horse feathers, those earlier ones. But Night at the Opera still got some of my favourite stuff. There's no bad Marx Brothers, just lesser and less great. Dustin Hoffman, Straight Time, one of the films I was begging for a long time. Finally came out. He's out of jail trying to go straight, finds that life ain't that interesting and he can't get a fair shake, so maybe one last job. Howard Dean Stanton's his partner in crime. So 70s Howard Dean Stanton with Dustin Hoffman, that'll do. Another one that millions of people have had, so we don't need to go into detail on this, the Mae West box set with all 10 of her original Hollywood movies. So you're only missing the 2 that she did when she was in her late 70s, Myra Breckinridge and Sextet. And I don't know if we need to see those in HD. And if you order direct, you get a big poster. I'll be honest, my favourite of this for sentimental reasons is My Little Chickadee, because it has W.C. Fields in it, and my number one wish is that Indicator do a W.C. Fields box set or 2, because I've got the DVD box set, but W.C. Fields, I love him so much. I know that Kino Lorber have put some out, but I just know that Indicator would do it definitively. Again, from the Vinegar Syndrome pickup, Six String Samurai, B-movie, but a rock and roll B-movie, where Buddy Holly, Elvis has died in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, and Buddy Holly is now a sword-wielding, Mad Max. Crazy as a bag of frogs. I saw it on BBC Two or something in the late 90s or early 2000s, and I just knew when they announced it that the next time Black Friday came around it would be mine, and mine it is. Documentary about the making of Warren Zevon's last album. Again, not very much in the remit of this group, so I won't go into it, but if you love Warren Zevon, get that. You will cry, you will laugh. From imprint once more, Harry Palmer, the first 3 or only 3 real Harry Palmer movies. It's the Chris File, Funeral in Berlin and $1 Billion Brain, directed by Ken Russell. And again, stacked with all the extras that you'd want from imprint. You should support them. I know they come from Australia, so they take a while to turn up sometimes, but God's sake, support them. It doesn't have the 2 TV movies they made in the 90s, but those were a bit sad to see, so I'm not too bothered about that. Out of the Blue, the again kind of rock and roll punk movie, which is very much a coming of age punk epic, directed by Dennis Hopper, who jumped in at the last minute when the Reds were left mid filming. It's a terrific film. It's just stunning. And the theme tune is Hey Hey My My by Neil Young, so as if you needed more convincing. Back to Warner Archives, Fury, with Sylvia Sidney and Spencer Tracy. That's the old lady. If you don't know who Sylvia Sidney is, that's the old lady from Beetlejuice who guides Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis through the next life. You know, the old smoky lady. That's her when she was young and big enough to be billed ahead of Spencer Tracy in a film. Then I go into that. Deep cover, Bill Duke's 1992 classic. This was a staple on TV in the 90s. I used to watch it all the time. And how fun that Jeff Goldblum gets to be the bad cop in a movie. Let's just take the cocaine ourselves and sell it. Jeff Goldblum is the bad cop, just bizarre. Mark Cousins, A Story of Children film. I thought I'd pick this up because I love Mark Cousins. I've met him many times and he's a wonderful guy. But I love A Story of Film. I love the story of women in film. And his upcoming one, A Story of Film, The Next Generation, which is out for pre-order now. Go and get it. Again, not within this group's purview, but Jethro Tull live at Madison Square Garden, 1978. The Immigrants and The New World, the two films by, was it Jean Troll? Yeah, Jean Troll. Max von Sydow is breathtaking in these films. Again, like much Swedish cinema, very much low key, but two real epics. A Beautiful Day in the Neighbourhood. Mr. Rogers never made it over here, but I wish he had because the message never grows old. Kind, and kind again. Again, not particularly in the purview of this group, but Pink Floyd's A Momentary Lapse of Reason. That probably shouldn't be here, but sorry, it was in the pile. Doctor Who Galaxy 4, the animation. One episode exists, we've got that on here, or you can watch it animated as well. Nice steelbook edition. First William Hartnell Blu-ray animated. Mulholland Drive, the big 4K box set, which is now out of print, unfortunately. But fantastic, absolutely breathtaking, absolutely wonderful. Great edition. Oh, look at that, it's taking up the whole picture now. Push these back a little bit. Pick that up if you do find it because it's got some great extras. Speaking of which, David Lynch, Arrow refused to wait 1 month to release the documentary on the making of Dune. Well, Koch Media in Germany said, yeah, we'll wait if it gives us a great documentary about the making of one of the most troubled productions ever. And here it is. It's the 4K media book of Dune. This is the one that you want. Don't support Arrow because it's not Arrow anymore. It's the Hut Group who took them over, making these business decisions, and to hell with them. Tom Baker's second to last season as the Doctor. Again, I've done a video about this and Mulholland Drive and Bond, so check the channel if you want to see any more of those. And finally, It, The Terror from Beyond Space. Often cited as an influence on Alien, but take that out of it, it's still just a fun B movie from the 50s. Well, that is the end of the affair. Apart from that, I got a slouch beanie for Christmas, which I'm a bit beanie gives me that, so. For a change, there wasn't too much waffling because there wasn't time to waffle, because I tried to get all this done in half an hour and I knew there was 5,000 things to mention. So hope you got what you wanted over the last couple of months, and I'm sure there's plenty to come in 2022. I know I've already got a lot pre-ordered myself. Hope you have a good new year when it comes. And why don't you make a little video about what you picked up, or tell me what you think of any of these, or any better editions that I should know about, or any recommendations. Pop them in the comments. So thanks very much for watching. Take care, be safe, get your boosters, and insert some other platitude that someone once told you. Love and mercy.